Hello, friends. Welcome back to Awareness for Youth with Dr. Devan Sarkar. Well, today I am starting a brand new edition of this or a brand new series of this channel, which is basically discussing financial attributes with you all. But rather than starting with mutual funds, stock exchange, SIPs, and whatnot, I will be talking about something that is very pivotal for your life, which is your own home. And your own home basically needs to deal with either if you have a plot and you have bought a plot or your parents have got a plot for you to build your own house, then voila, good luck with that. You will get that home sooner or later made completely. Thank God for that. But if you are on the outlook for getting something in a big city, or even tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities, then these are the points to look out for. And I will give you a checklist of things to look out for when you are going on to buy real estate properties. And you can vary your weightage according to your your own thought process. But and when I do mentorship of this sort of topics, I do it a little bit differently. When I use this for my consultations, I do cater into the fact what the customer needs are. But for a generalized template, this will be the 10 important factors that you should consider while buying a property anywhere in India. So first of all, you can look for the brand value of the project. That means that if the project that where you are buying your property, that is your flat or plot, for example, is that from a listed player or not. So a listed player means that the company will be listed in the stock market. It can be DLF, it can be Shapurji, it can be like Godrej or any other supplier for or real estate agency for that extent. Uh, but if you can see that there is a listed player, there is some sort of guarantee that there is an intrinsic guarantee in them that projects will be fulfilled, and you will handed over a project or a property that is undisputed, because the non-encumbrance certificate that you will get, you will be able to rest in peace with that kind of property. Second thing is the location. So here it matters that really what the customer preference is. But here you have to keep in mind that the price should commensurate with the uh, city you are buying things in, like which city you are um, buying the property in. And you have to think that, okay, if it is a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 city, so if I have a property in tier 1 city, the properties will be definitely much more expensive, because there is much more economic activity going on over there. So the chances that if you want to put it out for rent, there is a higher chance that your property will be taken out for rent, and there is a very strong chance that there will be capital appreciation in the near future. Now, if you are rather investing in a tier 2 or tier 3 city, where you have a genuine belief that the location where you are trying to purchase a property, that will develop in the near future, and you will get good appreciation in prices, as well as growth in the property, in terms of rental yields also, then you can go ahead for that also. But maybe you can, so that will not be as high priced right now as a tier 1 city property would be. But that can definitely stay in your list, because your affordability might be in that range. The next thing that you can look out for is the site layout. And by site layout, I am not necessarily meaning if whether it is a rectangular or a square plot. But actually, if you have that kind of a preference also, then it is said that the rectangular plots are the most preferred, then the square ones, and then the ones that are a little bit not uniformly shaped ones. Typically you don't get a round or a triangle like property, so we are not putting that into any sort of question. But here one thing needs to be very much remembered, that it need to have some certain facilities in the vicinity. Like if you are buying a property in a city, you have to make sure that you have hospital, school, etc. connectivity within 1 kilometer if possible, and if not within 1 kilometer possible, maybe in 2 to 3 kilometers range. Then these are emergency services and regular services also. So if you want to send your children off to school, and you don't want them to travel long distances, because in India, in tier 1 cities, the traffics are quite high, so it will really help you to have schools in proximity. And to be honest, the school branding thing is gonna disappear ish in coming few years, so you will not have to bother too much about the school brand and send your children off to very far distant school. This is a but at the same time, this is something which is very individualistic. So if you really don't care about, like, distance from school and hospitals because you have a car, it's up to you. But this is a equal weightage point also. Next, Next thing you need to look at is the density of flats in that property. So you have to look at flats or units that are given per acre. So sometimes when government is in need for more money and it wants to generate more revenue from registration fees and other sales and stamp duties, what it does is that it increases the FAR, that is flat per acre rate. And so that eventually leads into gives kind of permission to the builders that they can create high density residencies. And if you are getting into a high density residency, it may be that your pricing might be a little bit low, but you will, in the long run, you will experience more chaos, more kachar pachar, so that thing you need to really look for. So that also, there is also another additional factor that comes with that. If there is more number of units per acre, that means that if you are driving your private vehicles in that area, and there is there might be challenges with respect to parking, there might be challenges with respect to numerous other restrictions. But if the local government has in, given permission for higher unit density in a particular location, for them to get more registration fees and the builder to make more money, then you definitely cannot do much about it. So that's kind of out of your hand. But if you are fixated on a particular city to buy a property, then you can consider that. Number 5, uh, unit layout of what you are buying needs to be kind of fitted in your mind. So are you taking something of a corner plot or a corner flat, or are you taking something in the mid? That also matters. Um, in terms of layout, you can uh, you know see that where the sunlight will be coming from, like how, whether one, two, or three sides of the apartment you are buying are open. That is one very important factor. The efficiency of the layout can be another topic altogether, which I can cover in another video of mine. And certain times the plots or the designing of the builders are such that they will basically try to sell you something based upon the super area, but the super area may contain a duct going through somewhere, and that itself can eat away a lot of space, and you may lose from 40 to 80 square feet to about 100 square feet in that ruckus. So that is something that you need to really keep in mind. um, Talking about amenities is a very important thing in nowadays, because as we are living in a much stressed environment, stressed life, so it is very important that we also look back at which are the amenities that will really put some soul back, solace back into your soul. And for that, certain projects are really coming up with attractive facilities and amenities. Certain things are more or less common in many different projects these days. Any standard builder would incorporate them, but at the same time there are builders that I recently looked into a project which is in the less than 1 crore property range, which is very good in Pune. That was a Shapurji construction project, which really made a lot of sense, that how they are putting in Ayurveda spa and many things into that mix, which is really attractive. And people who are really into naturopathy should look into that project also. I am not going to say out the name here, but you can look for Shapurji based projects. Yeah. Next, a very important thing, and I think this should come even top of the list, some cases, but it depends upon where the in which city you are buying things. So this construction case may not applies everywhere, but the point here is that you need to note what is the type of construction people are the builder is using. Is it a Maifen construction? Is it a ACC block, or is it a red brick construction? Obviously, red brick constructions would get damaged the soonest. Next is ACC and Maifen construction, where they are building things out of concrete. You know, a very different idea altogether. And people who are not accustomed to Maifen construction can look it up, or I will make a video about it later on, that what Maifen constructions are and actually how this thing works. So I think that is a very important thing to look for, and I think the first preference should always go for Maifen constructions. Next is a very important thing which affects our pocket, which is the payment plan. If you are buying a finished or under construction property, I think for under construction properties, this is the most important thing, that how the payment is planned. However, here as a small pointer, I must say that most builders, whatever the payment plan is, they would try to take 70% of the payment within the first 18 months of your purchase. So whenever you go on for this sort of a project, also payment plan based thing, do keep in mind to keep use your um, loaning capacity, or otherwise I would say leveraging capacity to the fullest, so that you can use the maximum use of your financial power into the system, so that you get maximum amount of loan, and thus can take almost like a 2080 scheme, or if possible a 1090 scheme, and go in with a lot of exuberance into this purchasing or a payment plan basis. So here I think I need to mention this for sure, that your payment plan needs to be such that, or your affordability of a house, typically it is mentioned that the ideal price you should buy things at is at max 5 times your gross salary, not more than that. So 5 times your annual gross salary should be your purchase, the price of the property. That's it, no more than that. So if you are going above that and you are thinking that, okay, I will probably put something in, mortgage and other things to over leverage the system, that can actually hamper your prosperity in certain manners, because you will end up in a lot of stress. And while investing, you do have to keep in mind um, stress, how much you are getting in return per unit stress. I can discuss this per unit stress concept later on, but yeah, that's something that needs to be kept in mind. Ninth factor that is very crucial and which you should keep in mind is the gentry. Who are the people who are living there? So if you buy something in a city where you know it really varies based upon if you are an investor or an end user. But if you are a investor, then maybe you can buy certain things in Greater Noida also. But like, let's say if you are living, you would probably want to live in Gurgaon. Why I'm saying these things, or if you are a young couple or a young individual, you would probably prefer to stay in a young locality rather than a location where the gentry is more or less an older population who are almost close to their retirement. This is because um, if your energies, the area's energy and your energy does not match, then it will be a huge mismatch of cultural boundaries. Because let's say you want to come out in some power dress, or you want to come out in how the youth wants to dress, and that might not go hand in hand with old people who want to roam about, and they probably want to keep their immediate family in a different, or they might see you, they might not say something to your face, but the vibes will sometimes tell you things that you might not be extremely comfortable with. The last, but probably the most important thing is that whether what is the price of the project. Sometimes you will see that that is the main thing that usually affects people. But you know you sh- I have already talked about it, that you should not aim for anything that is 5 times your gross salary, and that probably should be given. That is probably the case that is given the maximum weightage for most people who are going for house hunting to purchase it. But don't repent by buying something which is very cheap. And also, if certain things are not in your budget, let's say you have budget for a 2 bhk max, and you think that the 3 bhk is just a little bit higher and I can probably pinch it in, and you will stay in a semi non-okayish condition for some time to pay off the 3 bhk prices. Maybe it is valid, maybe it's just manageable because your salary might also increase in the coming years. But economic times are sometimes very fluctuating, and in general, for investment purposes, if you are going to put things out on rent, it is always um, better to invest into 2 bhk compared to 3 bhk, and even 1 bhk compared to 2 bhk, if you are planning to keep the costs in manageable limits. And last but not the least, and I think this is a very important bonus point to end this entire discussion, you need to definitely check if the project you are buying is RERA registered or not. Do not go for RERA applied projects. Many builders or many vendors for agents or real estate agents would put your money deposit into something which is RERA applied only, but then it does not get approved, and then you fall into big trouble. So that is why it is very important that you go for something which is definitely RERA registered. You have to check in the RERA website that this particular piece of land or property that you are going to buy, that is registered out there. Uh, and I think it's very important to realize something, that if something is too good to be true, then it is probably not true. And that is a general investment thesis for everything that exists out there. And do keep in mind, stay safe, and definitely go for the blind buys and the good buys. There will be properties which you can sometimes buy or you should not buy, but yeah, I will not go into that discussion right in this video. I would rather say that you should focus on these 10, 11 points that I have discussed, and definitely devise a methodology that fits your need the best, and go on to make your first home purchase, and then go on to make more properties as per your pocket permits. Thank you so much. I hope you like this video a lot, and I really poured my heart into this one because I made notes so that it comes out to you clearly. I hope you appreciate this. Like this video, subscribe if you have not subscribed to this channel, and forward it to your friends. Please do share your comments, what you thought about this particular video. And with that, no, on that note, I will finish this video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.